PHILIAM
FX1.
Hello everyone, I'm Thomas. Now, before we begin assembling, the first step is to look for damage. Check the outside of your packaging and make sure that there is no damaging or any indents, anything that might be of concern. If you find anything or have any problems, make sure you contact the supplier for assistance. All right, now that we have opened the package, let me show you what's inside. First, we have the main part of the bike and the tires that are strapped on the back here. Secondly, we have this box here, and you will see that inside this box, we have the pedals, the tools, the charger, and some of the different pieces you're going to need to put it together, some of the small pieces. I'll give you a quick look. You'll see in other videos as we put the rest together. Okay. In the box here, you are going to find we have our light. Okay. Just a quick look. Here is our light. And lastly, for an electric bike, the important part. Nice and well packaged so that there will be no damaging. Be very careful when you're opening this. Just give you a quick look. This is our battery. Okay. All right, now I'll see you in the next videos as we put this bike together. All right, now it's time to install the handlebars. First thing, you need to find the mount for the handlebars. Make sure if it's loose, line it up so it's straight. Once it is straight, we have two nuts right here, one on the left, one on the right. Make sure you tighten those so your mount will not move. Okay. One's there, one there. Okay. Very easy to do once it is lined up. Next, let's take the actual piece for mounting the handlebars. You can use your wrench. If it's loose, you can take them out by hand. Take the screws out and the cover piece off. Put those somewhere safe so you do not lose them. You'll need them very shortly. Next, very, very important. You can see the handlebar can go on two ways. Make sure you put it on the right way. So we have, for this important part, a mark, and that will go right in the middle of your mount. Okay, let's put those on. All right, now you can put the screws on. Put one on a little bit loose so you can line everything up the way you need to. Okay, there I've got the top parts on. Now, let's get those bottom parts on. One here. One here. Now I'm going to tighten this a little bit, just by hand, but not completely. Okay, now you can see this is not completely centered. So you want to make sure, move that exactly where it's going to be in the center. Then let's finish tightening this up. Okay, there we go. So you have one, the rest are much easier to tighten. Okay. one last time. Make sure they are tight. You do not want your handlebar falling off. That would be a very bad ride if you started that way. Oh. Last one, tighten that. Okay, and you can see we have that mark right in there, shows you exactly where it needs to be. You can adjust these a little bit if you want to a bit later. All right, let's go on to the next part. All right, let's do the wheels next. Now for the wheels, this center piece is solid. So for those of you that aren't sure, you need to loosen the center piece, right? Once that is loose, you need to go to the outside, okay? And you need to finish loosening the nut on this side. You can see here, I'm lucky, that's going to be pretty loose. Okay, a little bit more should come off. Okay, and now that I've got this side a lot looser, I need to go to the other outside nut and take this one off. And that one looks pretty loose, so I'll take that off, slide that out. All right, once we've done that, now we need to take a look at the wheel. All right, for the wheel, first, let's take off the outside nut. And I want to take out the inside washer with the piece there. You can leave the inside washer with the piece jutting out. Do this on both sides. You can see here has the connector for the motor, right? And let's put those on the same side as where the wheel is going. Now, when you put the wheel on, it is very important to see where your brakes are and where your brakes are going to connect, right? So make sure that the wire is on the same side as it will connect over here, and the brakes on the same side as the brakes. Now that we have taken out the protecting piece and we've taken off the nuts, you also want to take off the washer as well that is kept on there. And this piece that has the jutting ridge, that jutting ridge needs to face down. You might not know what down is, but you'll see when we put the handlebars on why this needs to be down. Okay? Same on the other side. Make sure that you've got down to just this piece here. And make sure when you put it on, it is facing down. So the wire is facing you and the jutting out edge facing down. Okay, next we need to put the tire on, or the tire on the bike. When you put the tire on the bike, you need to be very careful. Make sure the brake goes in the right place. You need to make sure it is lined up, or your brakes will not work. Okay? You can see now that that's on there, this hole right here, that's why you need the piece that juts out so it can fit in there. If it's facing up, your frame is not going to go on that bike. You're going to need to check and make sure that is there. All right, now, as we put the pieces back on, make sure that jutting piece is facing down. You push it in there and get it in as far as you can so it's lined up. Then let's put on our nut. I'll tighten it by hand at first, and we'll see about tightening it later. Okay, once again, the edge jutting out needs to face down, not up, down. Make sure you put that on, get in as far as you can, and I'm gonna put that nut on. Okay, now you can check and see the spacing of your bike. If there is maybe a little bit of spacing that needs to be adjusted, you can put some washers in there to adjust that. Now, let's tighten this a little bit more just to make sure. Okay. Last piece, we have our wires. Now, there is a certain way to put the wires in, so do not just put it in directly. You will see on the top, there is an arrow. Right? This arrow is very important. And look until you find the similar arrow. Line those two up. And slide together. So it should look like that with both of those two wires together. All right, that should be it for the wheel. Next, we'll do the fender and the rest. Now, to finish up the tires, we're going to make sure one more time that the tires are tight. Okay? Very important to have tight tires. Okay? You will see there is a protection cap that can go over that. Let's put that on. Okay. One more. Let's make sure this is tight. So you have it nice and tight. Put the protection cap on. Okay, now for the fender. You'll see this piece right here. We need to put that on. It's gonna go right above the tire right here. You will want to set that right there. First, undo the screw with your bigger Allen wrench. Okay, once you have that undone, give me a minute to get that undone. Okay, once we have that undone, we're going to slide this under here. Make sure the short end is towards you. The long end goes back behind. Okay, line this up. You want one of the metal ridges on one side and the other on the other side. Okay, let's push that up. And get it up over our hole. Okay, once we have that lined up, you can get the screw through this side. Through the other side, and let's put that nut back on. Lastly, let's tighten our nut. All right, on to the next part. All right, let's start putting on the lights. First, for the lights, we have the brackets for mounting them. Those brackets need to be turned out away from the bike. Okay, let's make sure the wires are inside so they don't get in the way or don't stretch over the light. Secondly, you take the nut, the screw, and the washer out of the light. Once you have these lined up across from each other, put the light in. Make sure the washer is on the inside. My tools in my pocket. Okay. Washer on the outside. And I'm going to turn this out just for putting the first one on. So when you put the light on, make sure that the wire is facing down. Okay. You can tighten this by hand. We will tighten it later after we have everything put together. Once again, make sure all the wires are behind. Let's undo this side. Keep the washer next to the light. And now that we've turned right now, make sure you have all the different pieces tightened. Make sure you have your brackets tightened here so that your light does not go up or down or fall or move around where you don't want it to, and then tighten the nuts along the light as well so it does not move. You can adjust that light to go up and down and where you like. All right, I will adjust those after connecting. The last piece, we have the electricity for the light. Once again, find the small arrow. You may not be able to see that, but there is a small arrow on this side and a small arrow on this side. Line them up. Okay. Line them up and connect those. All right, like I said, tighten those. I will finish tightening those so you guys don't have to watch, and then we'll do the next part of the video. All right, the next part is very, very important. Bike pedals. Because of the way we pedal, the threads on a bike pedal are different. Because if we pedal normally, they would thread themselves off and you would lose your pedal. So we're going to put this pedal in here. Make sure you see the R, right and right. Okay? Here, L goes with L. And you'll also see it has a direction for spinning. Okay? So you make sure you want to follow that. Okay? And when you put the pedal on, you need to make sure you go counterclockwise. If you go clockwise, it is going to be a bit hard. Move this up. I can get a better view. Okay. You can put it on by hand first and then follow with the tool. Oi. For some reason, I can't line it up. Okay. Finally, you can finish tightening with your tools. Make sure that's pretty tight. You don't want your pedal falling off on you. And let's move over to the left side and put the left. And remember, these pedals are reverse threaded so they don't fall off. It can be a little bit tricky to get started. Remember, the left side has to be reversed, so make sure you're tightening it the right way. Well, in this way, it needs to go to the left and not to the right. All right, make sure that's tightened. Make sure the other side is tightened. And your pedals should be good to go. Once again, be careful, do not reverse thread or strip the left wheel because it will go on the opposite way. Right now, one of the last parts, we have our battery. You might think this would be hard. Actually, it's pretty easy. It has a very simple design. Just slide in and lock. So let's do that right now. Okay. Line it up. Slip it on. Slide it down. Okay. Once you've done that, we have our keys. Okay. They should be attached to your handlebar. You can cut those off. And then you can see here, we can lock our battery so that that is not going to budge. All right, congratulations. You have assembled your first PHILIAM bike, FX1. Now it's time to hop on and take a ride. First, make sure you go back through and check all of the connections and all of the bolts. You don't want there to be a problem or anything loose. All right, if you have any need of assistance or any more questions, or you want to get more products, be sure to contact us. Enjoy your ride, enjoy your adventure.
PHILIAM